tell you, my last two high school years were so different from my first two. It's crazy because mine was reversed. So I seen everybody did this. Start off strong and then go like, my shit would start off bad and then, and guess what? I got so many people that I know did not chase their dreams, did not bet on themselves, and have still been following the plans and goals that have been given to them since they were born. Honestly, whether I go to the hood or whether I go to the motherfuckers that I know that are in Stanford, NYU, Dartmouth University, Sacramento. Like I know people at top elite universities in this fucking United States and have graduated and are going on to law school, medical school. On top of that, like I went to a very compy high school that puts people in great places, and it's like I know a lot of these people are slaves to the blueprint and plan. Now, if it's one that they actually want and genuinely set out for themselves and are aligned with, then what I'm saying is not true, and they're just manifesting everything that they ask for. But it's sad to say that a lot of people are living a life that they know they would not live if they had a choice. And that's one thing I'm very proud of myself for, is that I said to myself, Brian, anything I ever set out for, anything I ever put myself to, it was created by me. It was created by me. It was, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And this is the standard I'm going to do it at. And if I ever changed, it was on me. You know what I'm saying? Man, that shit takes risk. It does take betting on yourself. It does take, like, damn, if my shit fumble or my shit crumble, I'm falling back on me. And that's the toughest thing people want to avoid. People always want to duck that smoke. People always want to duck that action. But they always want the rewards and benefits of what it comes like to separate from the crowd. They just don't want the anxiety or the stress that come with it, which is fine. It's not meant for everybody. It really isn't. Especially the type of ridicule you hear, chat. Fonzo999, I appreciate the big 3 months, man.
People don't like going out the box. They want to be told and controlled. People like us don't want to be controlled. We want to be free.
This is the thing. I'm going to tell you the scariest thing about it is that you might not immediately know anybody that has been successful that way. And you're also trusting a given plan. You're trusting the structure set out for you. You're trusting everything but yourself. Never once having that moment of like, I got it. I got it, and actually I want me to be the one that has it. And if I'm wrong, if I was being arrogant or whatever, then at least I got my own back and I can just learn from where I went wrong. Shit, worst case scenario, I just learned from my mistake, right? Worst case scenario, I don't die. I could just get back up and keep swinging. Like, I looking back on it, I can't even fathom the fear. But being on the other side of the fence, I don't know, chat. It's just a do or die situation in my head. Like, I don't even see it as hesitation. That's where all that fear and all that bullshit is gonna come up at. All that, man, do I really want to do or you don't? You do or you don't. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not, stop debating, stop fighting over it, because you're gonna stress yourself out. You're gonna end up miserable, and you're gonna end up thinking about it more and more and more. And if it gets to that point, then you can't get over it. So just go in and do it. If your plan or your goal is that important, you cannot get over it. It's gonna make you miserable. Start now. What's the point? You're gonna drive yourself in a hole thinking like that, bro. A deep one. And the deeper you dive into that hole, the harder it's gonna be to get out. And when people say just be yourself, you gotta create yourself. Exactly. You have to create yourself. Telling somebody to be yourself is the dumbest thing to say, because they might not even know how to be themselves. They're not being themselves is actually being a person they were taught how to be. You have to reintroduce yourself to yourself. You might have yourself fucked up. You don't let your whole environment and all these people tell you what you can and cannot do, who you should believe you are. And you got to reintroduce, man, show them motherfuckers who you are. But you have to show yourself first. I had to really show myself who I was. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, it really breaks down all the false assumptions and all the false beliefs you have about yourself when you really prove to yourself who you are. And you're like, damn, actually, you know what? I'm that guy. I can do that shit. I'm showing myself in real time. But not only that, it started building this momentum. You're like, why the fuck would I think anything else? I'm telling you, my confidence was always like, Like, if anything, my social skills was not there, but my confidence was always there. And then it's like, on a confidence level, no social skills involved, just not even thinking about that. But like me, the ability for me to just do what I want to do and go for it if I want to. Keyword, if I want to. That's the only thing that can stop me is me. Literally. That's the place where my confidence is. Just the only thing that can stop me is me. I don't feel nothing, no doubt, no sense of hesitance. It's either I'm going to do it or I'm not. And if I don't, then I'm not. Then I probably just don't care. But everything just feels in my control. Like if I want to do something or create something and I don't have it figured out, I'm going to study it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to learn about it. And then I'm going to strike at it. And then when I miss, I'm going to figure out why I missed. It's an ongoing process of evolution in anything I do. We can go to anything I do. And he who does not shoot does not score. Come on, man. How you approach those situations of getting to know people? Like, what does / should getting the reps in look like? Because I look like a bot saying, what's up? What's your name? And that right there is why you won't do it. Your belief system, your assumption about what you would look like is the reason you won't do it. That's the reason you'll always stay the same. Meanwhile, you're sitting here saying, bro, I can't do that. I would look like a bot. Like, bro, you just exposed yourself right there. Meanwhile, you're thinking that the next person is experiencing what they want. Think about that. You can think about your goals for your entire life, actually. But it may only take you 5 minutes to do it. Ain't that the crazy part? I always use the simple example. You could see a woman at the bus stop and have wanted to introduce yourself, tell her you want to give her your number, get her number, whatever the simple conversation was, right? You can do it. That approach or interaction lasts 2 minutes. Rejection or if you get her number, give her yours, either way, right? Whatever happens after. But if you don't do it, then you could think about that for the rest of your life. I'm telling you, bullshitting lasts longer than actual people who take risk in life. Like, that's the part that y'all don't realize. Like, had you already just went and did it, you would never even had this much time to complain. Ever. I can't even relate to that. What is this whole, I would look like, I feel like a bot. Like, how does it go? Figure out how it goes. Do you think somebody told me how it goes, or do you think I just put myself out there? What do you want? No, it feels like it's outside of myself. Exactly. It's supposed to be. You're supposed to feel lost, confused, because you're being a new person. Exactly. That's a good feeling that you should see. It feels outside of yourself. That's because it is. You don't do this. You've never done this. So why should it feel normal? Come on, man. Tell this girl been acting up. I'm trying to cut her off. Oh, hell. Do y'all see what I mean by the weak? The weak shit be all, it be off. It just, the details is all in someone's sentence. What is trying to cut? How do you try? How do you try to cut somebody off? I don't get that. That really doesn't make sense to me. Explain that to me. That's what I mean when I say you could read someone's sentence and you can tell so much about them if you know how to pay attention. What is try to cut somebody off? What does that mean? I know what it means, but I want you to think about it and you explain it to me. For the person that just said that, I want to show you, bro. Oh, that's one of my dad's favorite movies. That's from Troy. He said, "You sound like Achilles when the little boy said to him, 'He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.' And he replied, 'That's why no one will remember your name.'" But you want to know something, right? It used to be more common, I believe, amongst human beings, for everyone to understand that, like, you have to take action. I don't know what other way to word this. Like, I think dealing with social media nowadays, it's so easy to get lost in the sauce of your phone, lost in the sauce of distractions, to where it's like, y'all don't kind of realize, like, you have to work. You have to put the time into whatever you want to do. Like, there's no way around that. I don't get that. I don't get, y'all always seeing the end result of somebody else's time at work, and then y'all want that end result. And y'all want to think y'all can skip to that. And it just don't work like that, bro. It don't. Gotta get past people to have patience for this foolery. The patience is actually about to run thin. Like, one of the videos like I just dropped, I'm actually crazy. I'm surprised it did better than, whatever, for the breakdown. Especially when I do the mic video. A lot of videos about to leave a lot of people behind. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the ones that's sitting on the sideline, they ain't gonna be able to come in the locker room, man. It's just like that. Still be making beats on FL. I only made 1 or 2. I've been focusing on playing my instruments. Now that I'm about to actually create though, oh my, I ain't even gonna tell y'all, bro. I've been doing a lot of like research on engineering and creating different sounds and just learning my equipment. So I'm getting all that lined up. And y'all know I've been working on a bunch of different stuff that I do behind the scenes. So I really want to be on some like print shit where I produce my own shit. I know I can write my own shit. I know I can create my own sounds. Like this is already like kind of easy for me because as a creative person, like this is what I do. And it showed me, I showed myself that through my content. Like most people have editors, thumbnail makers, and all this stuff. Now I get somebody to make my thumbnails now, but you see how my whole first year and a half of my content went? I taught myself the algorithm from scratch. I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to make them thumbnails. They weren't the most professional, but guess what? Some of the thumbnails got over 900,000, views or millions of views, but they have got me over hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So something clearly was working. I taught myself these things, and I actually liked being in control of everything. See, now I got help because it just helps me allocate my time better, and the people that I have helping are qualified. So that's also another benefit, is when 2 dogs get together and that motherfucker just turned into some dog shit. Now listen, it's like I kind of see that for me because it's like that's just how I navigate as a person. Like I'm a visionary. Like when I have a vision about something and I want it in a specific way, I'll do what it takes to get it that way. So when I look at something like Sofego being on top of the world like this ain't just like, could you imagine just you in your room right now watching the stream and now you expected to be somebody that you've never been or do more than you never have done. And at the end of the day, the only way you get on the other side of that is just by buckling up. You just double down, honestly. That's the only way to get through it. But I ain't gonna lie, I gotta be tough on a person's mental when they had it all or felt like they had it all and it was right in front of them and they kind of like lose it a little bit. And it's not over till it's over, honestly. If y'all should really see that with artists and content creators, like motherfuckers can fall off and bounce back 10 times harder than they've ever been on. And that's one thing you learn about success, right? And I'll never forget, I read this in a book, but it's actually facts. Success is like this, chat. I'm gonna try to show y'all with this board. Let me show y'all, bro. Success will be like this, bro. Success should be like this for anybody. And I'm not even saying should as in like, but follow me here. It should be like this. Like, you get on, right? You have a peak. Right? You peak. This is way too small, bro. You peak right here, right? You peak. Okay, cool. Your video does good in the algorithm. It passed 10K views. You sell 50 shirts for your clothing brand, or your Instagram page gets 1,000 followers. Oh my God! Or your song pops up on TikTok. People making it should be that. Naturally, it'll be just a dip. Naturally, it'll be a dip after that. But if you continue, you should hit another peak, and now your last peak or your next peak is higher than your last one. But then inevitably, naturally, you dip again. You go down again. Just to, once you go up. And this new low, guess what? You might feel like you fell off, but your dip is actually higher than your last peak. I need to make this bigger. Y'all not gonna see this. Let me just do it like here. Let me make this really big. Like, yeah, you hit a peak and then you fall down and then you hit another peak and then you fall down again, right? Your last dip should be higher than your first peak. So even when you fall off, your dip is relative. Like you're still way higher. That's how success. This I'll never forget. I saw this in a book, and I'm like, that's why, like, quote unquote, falling off is not falling off. Like, your fall off is only compared to your last. Like your fall off should be higher than your first. Y'all get what I'm saying, chat? Like, in fact, the higher you go, the harder you'll fall. Like, the harder your dips will be. But your dips are higher than everybody else's. Like, oh my God, Tykwondoe fell off. His video hit 30K. Like, and then boom, my next peak, this video hit 100K in a day, or 100K in 7 days, or like, my dip actually is higher than my old peak. That's how it should be over time. And then my next peak is higher than my last peak, right? And then when it dips again, that dip should be at least higher or close to what I thought my peak was before. Most of us was never on. How can we say somebody fell off? That's bullshit. You're allowed to have an opinion. Just don't be the person who has no anything to show for it. Because the nature of the game is a hustler respects a hustler's opinion. Like, if I'm grinding, right, and I'm talking to another grinder, or somebody who's about their business, an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, any criticism or any comment that they make or anything that I'm being told or we exchange to each other, if we truly married to the game, no comments we make will involve ego or personal afflictions. It only involves a respect for growth and a respect for the game that we play. That's what it's about. So I can say something like, man, that ain't it, or that thumbnail is trash, or that wasn't blah blah blah, or I don't like that. And because of who I am, right? Because of what I do for my own personal life, my opinion outweighs a person who just sits on their ass and just critics and hates. Like, because it's never coming from hate for me. It's coming from a place of it could be better, like a perfectionist kind of mindset. But I oftentimes, and I had to work on this in myself, is that if people don't know where I'm coming from, right? People can feel like it's complaining, or. But anytime I say something, it's not complaining. I just tend to notice what could be better naturally. I'm the kind of person, I don't need my flowers. No bullshit. I never need my flowers. I never need oh my God, Ty, that was so good. I don't need that. I literally can only focus on the work and just get criticism and not feel bad. My ego won't take a hit. You could say, no, that wasn't it, bro. And I'm not going to feel personally offended. I only focus on what could be better. That's just how you need to train your mind to work. And when you can get your mind like that, there's nothing that can stop you. Because you only see things that are helpful and useful, and you have nothing can shake you, because you don't take it a negative or a positive. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. Is it helpful? Is it useful to me? That's what should it be about. I tell you, listen to Michael Jackson all the time. All the time. Dips are unavoidable. You just have to realize the stock. You're right. That's the point. The chart is still pointing upward. So even a dip and then another rise up and then the trend is up. And you learn this in stocks and actually like statistic classes. Some shit like that, right? I'm just drawing the lines. What they'll do is they'll trace the lines. They'll look at this one and say, okay, this one got dips, but the trend is upward. They'll look at this one and say, okay, this one went up and all that, but it really is trending down. If y'all can see that. That is trending downward. This one is a little bit more obvious. But they'll trace the lines and all right, what's the direction? Your brain is not there yet. It has nothing to do with IQ, bro. IQ just has to do with how fast you can absorb information. This is not high IQ problems. There are a lot of high IQ, high functioning members of society who are very close-minded and have rigid ways of thinking. They're close-minded. Their way of thinking is adaptive. It's not adaptive, actually. So they just are well controlled by not necessarily some other person or some big agenda, right? But they're well controlled by the story that they live in. And this is where I am that I am comes in. Can you change your story at will? Yeah, I was born a nigga in the hood in Philly, but I choose what I want to be every day. And I've changed quickly, not out of fear or doubt of someone saying, well, aren't you this or aren't you that? Or me saying to myself, aren't you this or aren't you that? But being able to move fluidly and freely and say, I am that I am. Not what you think I am. You are who you think I am. And why is that? That's because you are the only person who responds to your thoughts, not me. You could think I'm a phony. You could think I'm the realest person you ever met. It wouldn't change me because I don't respond to your thoughts. You do. That's why you are who you think I am. I'm telling you, This shit is interesting for me to talk about, chat. We where we want to go with it though. Where we want to go with it. Where do we want to go with it? Diplomas with glaucoma. That's funny as shit. It's crazy we're the only species with the power to do that. Other species adapt, but we do it on a mental. We do it on a listen. You know when I wrote that thesis on the Allegory of the Cave, I almost wrote it about racism being a human form of evolution and adaptation. And I'm gonna talk about why. I never forget I wanted to write this paper because it was so interesting to me, but I chose not to do it. You know why I was gonna say that? And I've explained this to y'all before. Because I was gonna say, if a lion wants to eat more than the next lion, right? It will kill that lion. It will become faster, and then over generations of lions, the best, most highest form of lions will have been chosen, picked, and evolved with the sharpest fangs, the fastest legs, or that's just how nature is. Like nature just whatever, right? The fastest gazelles with the adaptation to the new water or less of a drought, the ones that don't die off from the adaptation that they needed will just die off, right? For humans, well, if I want to eat more than the next man, I don't get sharper claws. I don't run faster. What do? I outsmart him. I outthink him. And a part of us outthinking is that it's not enough to just think fast, right? It's not enough just to have a high IQ and be smarter than everybody. Do you know and recognize your own potential to do something? I think as human beings, we are the only ones who suffer from that. Our own perception of our potential to do something. If a lion is hungry, it will simply hunt and go eat. If a dog wants to bark, that is going to open his mouth and bark. Or bite. It will bite you if it wants to bite you. We are the only ones that sit here and think, are my teeth sharp enough? Am I fast enough to catch that gazelle? So for us, you can control us and stop us by controlling our perception of our ability to do something. You can't do that to any other animal on this planet. You can train them to think that they can't do something and then they won't do it. Which is like if a dog has a shock collar and it gets shocked at the edge of the fence, you take the collar off, it will stop running to the edge of the fence. Okay, well, it was trained to do that. For us, though, we can be taught in that same way about our perception or ability to do something, and then we just won't do it. That's fascinating to me. So when I looked at racism, right, I was like, yo, that's the ultimate game. Okay, you're inferior. Why? Because your skin's darker. Oh, shit. Wow, really? Not because of the fact that, melanin has adapted in these climate of areas that have more sunlight than others. Oh my God. Like, no, you're just darker than everybody, so you're dumber. Okay, so then we add on top of that, remember, your perception of your ability to do something. Boom, got you, cooked you with the skin color. Boom, you look different. Your nose, your weight, your eyes, they aren't the standard. Well, who set the standard? I did. Well, I'm also supposed to believe and follow your standard and follow your rules and agree? Well, yes. Well, how can I ever win a game? How can I ever win a game that I like? Just think about the context of this. I use looks, for example, but it could be looks, your perception of your ability to do something. How can I even win this game when I'm playing the way you want me to play, and I'm competing with you? But I'm also playing the way you want me to play. Why would you ever want me to play in a way I could beat you? You wouldn't do that. You were smart enough to tell me I can't play that way. And I'm dumb enough to listen. You know what? I'm actually smart enough to listen. You know why I'm smart enough to listen? Because you told me that if I break the rules of this game, there are going to be consequences and penalties. So I better be smart not to deal with those consequences and penalties. So I'm actually smart enough to listen to you, to follow your rules of your game I'm competing in you with. I didn't even question, why am I playing this game? Whose game is this? I just kind of was jumped into it. I never even questioned, do I need to play this game? And why do I think I need to? Oh. Okay. How you get to this level of mental complexity? I'll tell you what. I always was inquisitive growing up. I asked a million questions. And my curiosity always beat any element of any thought or fear or feeling I ever had. If I was curious enough, I'll give you an example. No bullshit. My grandma told me this when I was a kid. Mind you, I think also just my environment gave me a lot to study and just observe. I had a lot of conflict in my environment. Not just conflict in the way of like arguing. I had a lot of conflict in just ideologies, conflict in diversity, conflict in everything. But also, what also beat that is I was curious enough to go outside of what was being shown to me. So by conflict, I mean, like, I had Muslim family members and I had Christian family members. I said, okay, we all believe in God. Wait, why are you saying this? And why are you saying this? So I just automatically was given just so much to be pulled with. And I just use religion as an example. But I also was shown, I observed so many things. I'm like, okay, but this person, oh hell, the Ice King, I appreciate the 10 gifted subs, right? No, this person, now mind you, it's also stuff that I had to de-root in myself every day, to this day, right? Getting another example, we're not using religion, let's just use socioeconomic status. Okay, most people just jump into the rat race. I gotta get my motion up, I gotta get my clout up, I gotta, again, play to the rules of the game that I was given, not even questioning, is this the game I wanna play? Or do I need to play this game in order to win in life? Whole nother thing for another day, right? But socioeconomic status, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing people struggle to pay rent, struggle to feed themselves, and then there's somebody else who has 10 cars, 10 houses, 20, like, what's going on here? This is both humans. Like, I just, me always being curious has always driven my mind. And at the same time, I will also, like I said, with the thing about curiosity, I was going to tell the story of my grandma thing. I'll never forget. She was like, I watched this movie when I was a kid. Mind you, it's a movie I loved still to this day, right? But it was about werewolves and vampires and shit, right? And she was like, I was scared to death of that movie to go to sleep. I couldn't even damn near go to sleep that night. I woke up the next morning and said, can we watch it again? That's the epitome of me as a person. Like, since a kid, like, I probably was like 6 or 7 at the time. Like, that's literally me as a kid. Like, scared to death, don't even want to look at it, don't even blah, blah, blah. But guess what? Can we watch it again? Let's see it again. Like, I just always wanted to run towards and dive towards the unknown, or what I think I didn't know. And then guess what? Why is this so helpful in involving your mind? Because the average person will sense that wall or that edge and they stop. It makes them uncomfortable. And when they stop at those walls, they stay the same. Intrusive thoughts. The struggle to not internalize them becomes almost unbearable sometimes. The only reason you're willing to internalize them is that because there's something about the thought that you are assuming or believing to either be helpful, true, or will make a difference if you internalize it. For example, if I told you that dog's shit stinks and it became an intrusive thought, and you wouldn't fight that intrusive thought because you don't have any belief about realizing that a dog's shit stinks, that would change your life. But let's say the intrusive thought is, name one. Fair say, you're not good enough, or you can't do it. There's a part of you that is assuming that that's true, or is holding on to a belief that supports that thought, that is the reason that it has influence over you. And my point is, if you tackle the core or the foundation of that intrusive thought, it loses its power. And you have to be willing to challenge it, though. You have to be willing to prove it wrong. I'll give you one for me recently that was in my head that I challenged. This is why I say, this self-evolution shit, there's no condescending above or below. I'm better than somebody, I'm less than somebody. Everybody has their own different demons that they fight, or different shit about themselves they have to de-root. For me, early on, it was the financial literacy. The big ones for me was the identity of, growing up in the hood and being a black man in America, and what that means and what that thinks, and what people are controlled to think, what they should think about that. Then another one was the financial literacy shit. My negative beliefs about money, like money makes you evil, money makes you greedy, money makes you and turns you into a person you're not. Or that if somebody has a lot of money, that they're instinctively something bad or wrong about them. And that if somebody doesn't have a lot of money, that there's instinctively, like, you see what I'm saying? Beliefs like that, which I had to tackle and conquer and outbeat. Then reason for me is how I view fame and clout. You always would know I would say, I don't like the idea of, I don't like fame and clout. But that's because I had this correlation between the exposure and unsafety, like the weird behavior that comes with fame. I don't mean like the weird behavior of like me as a person. I mean like the shit that it attracts from other people, and me opening the door from that, just being bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and inviting that more in my environment. Then another one is what else about that? Just overall narratives and beliefs, and a lot of times would hold myself back from doing things that will push me or make me bigger, because it's like I don't want what comes with that. It's like a internal conflict over what I believe about that. So the I am what I am is the process of proving those thoughts and identities wrong. No, it's taking control of them and not caring to even listen to them because you're focused on what you're choosing to be. Think about it. If I choose to pick up my phone, in that moment, I did not question anything. I just grabbed my phone and picked it up. It should be the same for anything and everything you decide to do on any level. Negating risk of the decision, like I'm gonna just walk across the street without looking left and right. Like I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about something that has to do with becoming. Like, so I play basketball. Sometimes I get expectations that I don't want, but I want to be on the next level. I have a method which is just pay attention to you, but I want your perspective. How do I play with expectations? You gotta look at Kobe for something like that. Kobe was definitely one of them dudes that transcended his identity as a player, and you saw it in his ability to get in his zone and produce consistent numbers, and to be unfazed by whatever came his way. Missing a shot, having a bad night, having a great night, he really had that under control and unlocked mentally. So I would look at a lot of him later in his career if I was you. Shit that he talked about, what he talked about, and why. And do it really intentionally and authentically. Don't do it just like I'm gonna watch this shit and do it. If you ain't putting it into play and practice, you are only fooling yourself, bro. Explain on how addiction has to do with a bad relationship with yourself. Because addiction is a response to let me word this actually very intentional. Addiction is a representation of a bad relationship with yourself, because number one, you're allowing yourself to deteriorate through a behavior that you're choosing to do. But let's say you don't recognize that it's your choice of free will. Why would you not recognize that? Goes to level 2. It is a reaction or a giveaway of that control over yourself because of the discomfort or pain, which is also discomfort, that is brought by your reaction to whatever you're reacting to. Now, you can deal with what makes you uncomfortable and kill the pain or alleviate it. And that's where a lot of drugs or addictions in and of themselves, the real thing every addiction has in common is escapism. Whether this drug is a hard chemical or this shopping is whatever, or I'm addicted to playing video games, they all have escapism. And that escapism is where the addiction is at. Now, when you say a bad relationship with yourself, if you had a great relationship with yourself, just to compare the two, you would not allow yourself to harm yourself. Simply put. And then number 2, you would also make sure or take great intention that the decisions you make benefit you in the way that you intend to. Which actually you're literally doing by being addicted, because you intend to escape from what pain you're dealing with. So I can't even say that. It just has to do with the long term. Like, it just also has to do with the authenticity behind what you're doing. Which is why a lot of times when people beat an addiction, it's never because somebody else wanted them to. It's only because they finally within themselves.
You're on a higher frequency, and it's truly inspiring.
Appreciate
Dojo
the 1,000
to
bits.
The moon.
Appreciate the 1,000 bits, gang. You see that? This is a guy that wanted me to go on the Pineapple Show. We talked for longer, and now he's realizing what's more important. Appreciate you, bro. It really changed right there. Now, and this is why when a person beats an addiction, it's never somebody that helped them. They have only had to decide to finally within themselves. It always is that relationship with themselves and who they're choosing to be, no matter what level of life. Even if you don't have an addiction, you have an addiction to something. Maybe you're addicted to believing in fear. Maybe you're addicted to believing in complacency. Or maybe you're addicted to believing in staying the same or being like whatever I think I just said complacency, but we all have addictions. I seen a way that something was worded, right? And it said, oh, how do I get confidence? Like, how do I learn to trust myself? Like, my lack of trust, my lack of belief, my lack of this. You actually don't have a lack of anything. You're always abundant of something. In the case where you frame it as a lack of confidence, it actually is a trust in doubt. A lack of confidence is a trust of doubt. You're always trusting something. You're always abundant. So to say that there's a lack of something is just not true. There is always a trust in something. What are you trusting? Are you trusting the fear? Are you trusting the fear, the doubt, the negative outcome? Are you trusting the negative outcome? Are you trusting the possibility of that negative outcome? Are you trusting the belief that you can't change that negative? Like whatever, you are always trusting something. There's no lack of anything in life. Oh my God, that was such a powerful thing. So powerful. Because you gotta realize that, and then you say, okay. And then with all this excess of abundance that I have, let me stop misplacing it. Oh shit, how do I do that? Well, why am I putting it where I'm putting it in the first place? What made it so rewarding is the word. Yeah, that's the word I want to go with. Is it possible to be too far gone from an addiction? I feel like if someone is addicted to some crazy drugs or psychedelics, it warps their concept of self to a point there almost no return. That's just not true, because you can name somebody who's recovered from almost any drug that ever existed in the world. I don't have any fact on that. You could honestly pull up that 0% of fentanyl addicts have ever beat it. I don't know. Maybe you find a fact to prove what I said is wrong, but to my belief, I'm going to assume that there's somebody who's beat any and every addiction that has ever existed in life. If you're talking about substance addiction, right? There's always somebody that has. I can practice hitting a home run by myself, but all the time, and then when it comes, if I'm under bad pressure, I will fold in front of the entire stadium, no matter how good I am. Exactly. But that's what separates elite level talent or elite level players from great. What would we put at the top? Great or elite? Actually, I put elite under great. Right? Somebody's great, like they've separated themselves. If somebody's elite, then they're just a part of a certain caliber. Greatness is higher than elite. That's what I'm thinking. I think greatness is higher than elite. If somebody's great, they separated themselves. You elite, you can be elite. You can advice. Is it wrong? Am I wrong? Let me know. Is it the opposite? Let me know. Elite is top tier. I think when we say somebody's great, it's probably because they had elite talent. But great is like the ultimate title you can give them. Like that's one of the greats. People don't really say that's one of the elites. You know what I'm saying? Greatness means more than elite, right? The point we was about to make is it's a very interesting point. Oh, this is why I'll never forget a question like this, where people came to me early on. I never seen a question like this in a long time. But people were like, yo, Ty, if you think I'm trying to get better at approaching, should I approach, 5s and 6s, and then get better at it with dimes? No. You know why? You already set yourself up for failure, because you separated the prettiness of the woman from the skill of approaching. It wouldn't matter if she was a dime, a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -5, or 42. If you can approach, you can approach. So why are you separating the skill from doing that? You already set yourself up for failure. That'll be the same player who will swing his baseball bat or kick that soccer ball all day and then think it's any different in the game. When the court, the net is the same size, his foot is the same, everything is the same, but he's focusing on what makes it different. And not even in a way that's helpful. Like, the crowd's going to be there. That's a difference. But does that help? How does that help you? Maybe you get turned up from the positivity of the crowd. Or maybe you realize that you shouldn't, because that could affect your playing. Call me Lumen. I appreciate the Twitch Prime sub, baby. That's what an elite player should recognize, that, yes, the difference is the crowd, but do I want my game to be dependent on the crowd? Do I want to be better or worse depending on something that's important or less important? Yeah, maybe I'm ranting. I get to running my mouth. I gotta just jump in and start asking other shit too. Michael Jordan, never folded under pressure, because he's one of those great human beings, man or woman, great human beings who decided to take inevitable feature of success or a high standard and turn it into something that supports their growth. He has a healthy relationship with pressure. Pressure is something he takes with honor instead of being afraid of. Like, oh my God, this is a big moment. I asked for this big moment. I wanted this big moment. It should be big. I don't do anything small. This is his kind of mentality, and this actually changes how he performs. Meanwhile, you're over there thinking you have to prove something. He's taking it with dignity, like with a sense of like, yes. And he grabs it with an assertiveness that you can't have if you are afraid of pressure or you are afraid of big moments instead of having a positive relationship with it. You know, and not just an arrogant confidence, but like I want those moments because they'll either make me, because I know it won't break me, so it's only gonna make me more of what I am. This is the kind of mentality that just like makes you a bulldozing, rolling steamroller, bro. Like, can't shit stop you, because you could the type of to take a hit and get a callus and get stronger. The next person is scared to get hit again. Look at these type of people, man. It's amazing to me. Do you get the feeling where you are at the rehearsal stage? It's more so like just being conscious. It's more so like being conscious that this is what I want it to look like. You know, everybody's imaginations is different. For me, I may be able to be very visual. I can close my eyes and see a lot. Like, maybe you're not a very visual type of thinker. Maybe you have to like just solely focus on the technique or however you want it to look, and you can't really visualize. You know what I'm saying? So that's fine. But if you like, you get what I'm saying? It's not really like necessarily into the dream of it. Mike Tyson spoke about how before he approached the ring, he would be fearful, but when he's in the ring, he feels the most confident. You know why that's bullshit? Because if he was truly, if he truly wasn't confident, he would have never stepped in the ring. That tells you his confidence was already there. And he's not feeling more or less confident. In fact, after he's already in the ring, he can now focus on his confidence because he realized that the choice of putting himself there to begin with is where the confidence started. Before it even happened, the confidence had to be there to say, I'm going to do it. You know? And the uncertainty of what's going to happen from this choice is where the anxiety is. But that never took away from his confidence. I'm beginning to feel more and get more experience. The Patreon videos are much more useful when you're not on the sideline. Don't wait for me to convince you. It ain't going to stop the winners from winning. It looked like you choosing to be one. You repeat that? I don't even remember what I said or which part you're referring to. I have a speech impediment. I'm afraid I'm going to stutter when talking to girls. Any tips? So what? How to approach a big game or a championship game at a big venue event. Honestly, look at those who have had those type of big moments and study their mindset. But at face value, right, of any big moment in my life, whether it's a big speech or a big test or something that would, change the trajectory of my life or really was an opportunity of a situation that I worked for and meant a lot to me. First of all, it's my trust in myself that supersedes all doubt and uncertainty. But I don't just trust myself for like simple belief, just nothing. Like, I proved to myself I should trust myself. Meaning, like, I watched myself put in the effort every day. I sincerely thought about what it takes, how I want it to go. And even then, like I said, if I had to do something on the spot and it needed to be done, I trust myself because I choose to commit to whatever happens following what I do. Failure or success, I succeed either way because I put myself on the front lines. It don't matter what it is. That's a mentality you have to take on because the world wants you to prove yourself through your achievements. Or thinks you're any less because you don't have any. Tired of not getting played because I lack a mouthpiece. Funny because I got two baby moms. I just got lucky back in high school. There's nothing I can do with your perception of yourself. I don't know what you watched, seen, absorbed, and told yourself, but it runs deep. There's really advisor. I'm everything for y'all I am to myself, bro. That's why I like would never get stuck with my content because I'm always putting shit in my brain to learn new shit. I'm never trying to be stuck on the same shit. It'll always be access to something because I'm always constantly involved and I'm always constantly trying new things, always constantly attacking some new whatever. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully motivating and inspiring people and setting some type of record or history in some new way. How to better embrace securities. Well, if you're talking about to feel good, I can't tell you about that. But an insecurity in general is just, you got to realize it's useless, like, to you. It's very useless. It plays in the game of, like, what do I want to call it? Again, needing to feel good. Do you need to feel good to be good? Or be happy? You know? So if you're insecure about something, right? Why does that thing, why would it bring you security if you had it? Or if it was different, why would it bring you security? That tells you that your entire system of security or structure is faulty to begin with. Like, for example, let's say, boom, I have an insecurity with my weight or my height, right? On the opposite end of that insecurity is me telling myself that the opposite would give me security. So why is that? Well, I have to really be critical. Like, why would that make me feel any different? And then if your answer goes outside of yourself, meaning what people would think about you, you'll never be satisfied. You would never be satisfied. That's just a bad place to go for peace. How do you acquire that mentality of taking on every challenge? I had to. Everything I wanted was on the it was and is on the opposite side of my challenges. Right? Because it wouldn't be a challenge if I didn't care about getting what I want. Right? Like, for example, would it be a challenge to go to the gym consistently if I didn't care about going to the gym? So basically what I'm saying is, acquiring the mentality of taking on every challenge is just more so an acceptance of what I'm asking for. Like, I just kind of accept that it comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? I hate when this camera doesn't focus. But I kind of just accept that it comes with the territory and just deal with it. It's not really a mentality. It's just like, either I want what I want or I don't. And if I don't, then I might as well stop going for it. And if you're going to stop going for it, then you really don't want what you want. Just get out the way. Get out of your own way. Stop fighting and conflicting and wrestling for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just commit, accept, and go. Are you familiar with the lyrics of Carl Jung? Of course. I work out 7 days a week, and I always think about working out. Working out the whole day. I don't know why. I mean, you submerged in what you want and what you're creating. What's the first thing to improve on then, Todd? With developing mouthpiece, everyone say confidence. What is really confidence? How do I develop it? Confidence is just a commitment, right? A commitment to self. If I say, damn, that dude is confident, I may have looked at, oh shit, he just walked over there to that woman. Oh shit, he just started that business. Oh shit, he just spoke his mind. That person or that woman or whatever is committed to whatever they want. Why am I saying the word commitment? Because the commitment means that they're willing to go for it no matter what, or sacrifice whatever is on the line. I'm committed. Meaning I'll take whatever comes with it. So that's confidence, is a commitment to self. Then you develop your mouthpiece, because then you start getting experience once you start consistently going for what you want and building those skills. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we should do, because there's different topics. Well, the Discord is already, where it's at. That'd be a great idea for the Discord in general. So I feel like my choices I made so far to not take action bred fear for me. The hardest thing is so hard to forget about the end goal and just focus something I can't do right now. Again, you want to know what the funniest part about looking at somebody who's struggling with their like relationship with themselves is that you literally can do it. You just do it. You just do it. If something, all these beliefs are going on up here, again, the real estate in your mind, the fight, the argue, like whatever reason you can't or you think you can't, that's on you. But you literally just can. You literally just, whether you can do something is not like the important. You do or you don't. Like you just do or you don't. When somebody says you can or you can't do something, that plays into like the thought of a person's ability to do something. That which is always subjective to whatever that person believes. Even if they use implied statistics like there's a 99% chance this disease will kill you, you can't survive or you won't survive, which often people will transfer to won't or can't. But they're not saying you did or you did not survive. They don't know. No, it's not set in stone.